Care studentesse, cari studenti, buongiorno. Spero che stiate tutti bene e che siate riusciti ad avere un po' di tregua con il sabato e la domenica, perché mi rendo conto che i ritmi sono quelli che sono un po' frenetici, ma grazie a Dio c'è la salute, che è importante. Ora, questa è la lezione per comparate, secondo anno, del 23 marzo 2020. Vado alle slide per una veloce ripetizione di quello che abbiamo fatto mercoledì scorso. Allora, mercoledì scorso abbiamo affrontato in maniera più specifica the maxims, Grice's maxims. We looked at quantity, quality, relation, and manner. Quantity, don't give too much information nor too little. Quality, don't lie. Relation, don't say anything that is irrelevant. And maxim of manner, try to be as clear as possible and don't be obscure. I gave you some examples that were not included in your book. Again, I'm not asking you to buy the book if you don't have it. It's okay. It's just fine. But I wanted to add some other examples about the ideas of floating a maxim and violating a maxim. So I gave you some little dialogues, okay? Remember that floating the maxim means that both the listener and the speaker know that the words that the speaker is saying should not be taken at face value. And so I gave you several examples about how to float the maxim of quantity, of relevance, of manner, and quantity. Then I also gave you some further slides about the violation of the maxims of the violation, okay? Before we were talking about floating the maxim. In this case, in violation, the listener does not know that the words should not be taken at face value, okay? And I gave you some examples for the quality, quantity. Sorry, just let me check that I hope that recorded my slides. Where was I? Here I am. Okay. The violation of relevance. And manner. Okay, just read through the slides and it gives you some examples. Remember that something that is important for me, because I realized and I was talking, well, during the exams that we had last year, I was talking with some students and they would have appreciated more examples and trying to apply these theories concretely. So one of the questions that I asked them to answer was to give me examples, because I wanted to understand that they had understood what we were talking about. So if you don't want to make their same mistake, please try to give yourself examples. Okay, don't learn it by heart just like that. Then I also said that there are some scholars that reduce all the maxims to basically respecting the maxim of relevance. Okay, because there's this relevance theory, according to which communication is all based on relevance, and the degree of relevance depends on two aspects: contextual aspects and processing aspects. As for contextual effects, these scholars believe that communication has to be imagined like a sort of string where people add new information, they strengthen what they want to say, and then they weaken old information. And I gave you the example of Susie and May. Susie and Mary are great friends. They had lots of fun. Susie and Mary went to the party. They had lots of fun. Susan and Mary, new information. They went to the party, okay? They strengthen the idea by saying that they had lots of fun, pretty obvious. But at the same time, you add the pronoun they, so you're weakening old information by replacing it with something new. And then, of course, according to these scholars, information always has to be accessible, meaning that you can't start talking about something and then going back to something else, which might have happened during these classes, of course, because it's not, these sort of classes are not meant for recordings, okay? So it's pretty natural and I would say unavoidable that while we're talking, our thoughts can go somewhere else. So we start talking about something else, and then we have to get back to the main point, to the main aim of what we were saying. It's pretty natural. Hope I didn't do it too much. Again, limitations, because every theory has its own limit. This theory does not really consider cultural and social dimensions. And then we watched some videos about what our language habits reveal by Steven Pinker, and how the components of grammar are strictly connected to cultural aspects and to how our brain works, and to the meaning of what we are saying. As for today, we're going to look at the concept of politeness. Politeness in linguistics. Okay. Very, very important. What the word politeness means in linguistics is not really what it means in general English. So please don't come to the exam talking about happy people bowing down to somebody. I want to start with this example from your book that starts from way far away from what we are going to talk about, but it is relevant in a way. During her successful general election campaign in 1979, Margaret Thatcher undertook various photo opportunities to emphasize how in touch she was with ordinary people. No? Strategy. No? To take pictures with the people. People mean people who vote. On one occasion, she was photographed standing at the back of a platform bus, scusatemi. Platform bus means a double-decker that has an open entrance at the back. As this was taking some time, she said, "I'm beginning to feel like a clippy." Clippy is a bus conductor who sells and clips tickets. È il controllore, anche venditore di biglietti. And then, observers recall, you see the realization in her eyes that she might have said something patronizing. So she added, who are all doing a wonderful job. Quindi con questo who are all doing a wonderful job, lei raddrizza un po' il tiro, perché ha utilizzato il clippy. I feel like a clippy. What does that mean? That could have implied that clippies are useless. Okay, so she rearranges what she says. We'll see what this means in terms of politeness in a couple of minutes. Ascoltatemi perché questa ve la chiedo, 100-100. Questo è un argomento che mi interessa particolarmente. Sorry for that. Politeness and face. According to these two scholars, Brown and Levinson, who started writing about this in 1987. In linguistics, and in communication, we always have to consider the concept of face. Face is public self-image, the image that all of us carry around in society. So it's important in communication to avoid what is called face-threatening acts, FTAs. So acts that go against our face, our public self-image. You know, when we talk, we always kind of try to be polite and to be respectful of other people. But there are some situations where face-threatening acts, FTAs, are unavoidable. Let's say that you, we'll watch a video about this later on, but let's say that you own a company and one of your employees is taking too much advantage of the fact that what are they called? Business travels expenses. Okay, so that they can get refunds. They go on a business trip and they get refunds for what they buy. Let's say that instead of just going to a hotel, I don't know, 2-3-star hotel or bed and breakfast, they say, oh, I just want to go to a 5-star hotel. And you end up, and your company ends up with a very, very high bill. That's just, let's say, a big example, but it happens in our everyday life where there are things that we have to say and we have to find the way to say them. Okay. And that is where some techniques come in. We can manage this threat by using something that is called negative politeness. Negative politeness is a technique that respects what is called the hearer's negative face. When you see the word negative face, this means the need that everybody has to be independent, to not feel that somebody else is imposing something on them. Okay, typical example, and I'll give it in Italian. Let's see. Let's say that you live with other people and you see that one of these people does not collaborate, does not wash the dishes as much as they should. So what do? You can come in with trying to respect their negative face, but you want to tell them to do the dishes, to wash the dishes. So you can say, hey, I don't want to bother you. I know that you're busy, but when you have time, of course, can you wash the dishes? All those hedgings that I used at the beginning. I don't know if you have time. You can do them when you want. I know that you're busy. All these things are trying to emphasize the fact that our hearer has to feel independent, that you are not imposing something on them. Okay? We do it all the time. Or, same situation. But I can use another technique. I can respect positive politeness. This refers to the concept of positive face. That is, the need to be accepted and liked. Let's see if I can do it with the same example. Again, washing the dishes with somebody who doesn't do that as much as he should. Well, maybe it doesn't work in this situation, but you could say something along the line, you know, you are a really careful person and you're very clean, you know how to do this. Maybe you're better at washing the dishes. You are definitely better at washing the dishes than I am, because probably I'm better at, I don't know, mopping the floors. So since you are better at doing this type of thing, would you mind washing the dishes? Or let me give you another example that works better than washing the dishes. Let's see that a friend of yours has a problem. They have to prepare a PowerPoint presentation. They're not really good at it. I mean, they could do it on their own, but they're not really great. So what could they say to you? They could say, hey, mate, you are a computer geek. You are great at doing stuff. You're great at visuals. You are great at PowerPoints. I'm just an idiot and I just can't do it. Or it's just not for me. Would you mind helping me to do this? In this case, you are using positive face. The person is using positive face with you because they are saying that you are great. No, they're pumping up all your positive emotions and you feel so good because they're giving you compliments and you feel accepted and you feel great. They're saying that I am an idiot and you are better than me. In that case, I'm using positive face. Or opposite situation, I can use negative face. That person can use negative face with you and say, hey mate, I really need some help. I know that you are busy. I know that you don't have lots of time. But just in case you do find 5 minutes for me, would you mind helping me with this PowerPoint presentation? In this case, I am using negative politeness. I am respecting this person's independence. Or actually the speaker is reaffirming my independence, saying when you have time. And that is the difference between negative and positive face. Remember that what might be confusing is that you see negative and so you think that somebody's saying something bad. No, it's like negative face for feeling independent. Positive face, you join a group. You feel accepted. They give you compliments. Okay? Another concept, still about face-threatening acts. Face-threatening acts can be done on or off record. What does this mean? Let me pull up this other slide. Okay, I'll start with this one and then I'll go back to off record. If I'm doing a face-threatening act, I can do it on record. The word on record means boldly, straight to the point, okay? No going around in circles. Bam. straight. I can say, Mark, tell me the address. Baldly. I can say the same thing, but using negative politeness. I can still go straight to the point, but using negative politeness. This means that you're respecting the other person's independence. I can start my sentence with something like, I don't want to be a nuisance, or I don't want to bother you. I know that you don't have time, but Mark, please tell me the address. Or I can also still be on record, do a face-threatening act on record, so boldly, but using positive politeness, and say, Mark, you're a computer whiz. I'd really appreciate if you could find this address for me on the internet. So boldly. Or I can find another solution and do something that is called off-record face-threatening acts. Off-record means indirect. You're in a room and somebody says, oh, I wish I could remember the address. What does this trigger? Somebody from somewhere is going to say, oh, I have it. Don't worry. Here it is. Here you go. So what did this person do? They did a face-threatening act because you're asking somebody to do something for you. But they're not saying it boldly. Mark, tell me the address. They're not using negative politeness. So they're not saying, I don't want to bother you, but give me this address. Nor are they using positive politeness, saying, I know that you're a genius and you remember everything. Please give me that address. No. They're using indirect techniques. Okay? I wish I could remember the address. And they're talking out loud, and somebody will eventually reply. Not that there's anything bad with this, but still, I personally don't like this type of technique, but, and I guess you could understand that from my tone of voice. But look at it. It's what happens to us every single day. We all have this type of people, and probably we are this type of people, where it's not even a matter of courage or not in some situations. It's just the way we work. It's just the way we learned how to react. It's what probably our parents gave us, the society gave us, our culture gave us. And so everybody does face threatening acts in different ways. I want you to think of examples in your everyday life where this happens. And probably also to think about what type of people do you have around you, and how do you do face-threatening acts? I know that most of the things that you're learning during this course will be gone with the wind. But I don't know, maybe it can be a light bulb that makes you think about what is going around, what is happening around you. I added this scheme that gives you a general pattern of where we are. It's not included in your book, but you have them here. It's fine. So where does all start from? You have to do a face-threatening act. You can do that in two ways, on record and off record. Remember that off record means that you are using indirect language. Okay? Remember about the guy complaining in the hallway that wanted something. Or you can use on record language. Baldly, straight to the point. There are two ways to do this. You can do this without a redressive action, so baldly, you just say, give me the phone number. Or you can use one of the two techniques that I gave you, positive or negative politeness. With redressive action, what does this mean? Positive politeness. Hey, I know that you always remember everybody's phone number. Can you give me the address, the number? Or negative politeness, where you respect the other person's independence and you say, when you have time, I know that you're busy, would you mind giving me that phone number? Now, let me give you some examples. Always remember that on record, bald strategies, of course, and we all get this, might embarrass the addressee, the listener. So obviously, you use this type of strategy when you really know the person you are addressing, when you are in a very close relationship with the other person. For instance, family or close friends. Again, it really depends on the speaker because there are some people who tend to not use this bald on-record strategies at all, or to use them at a minimum. And opposite, there are also other people who definitely use these strategies a lot. And they're not even aware of what they are doing. However, there are some situations where this bald strategy, on-record strategy, is used. It is when there's a great urgency or desperation. Something's falling from the balcony. Watch out! Baldly. Or when you really want to get your message across and you say something like, hear me out. You must not do that. Or in other cases where there is a task, something to do. Like, let's say that you're working with your friend or brother and you say, hey, pass me the hammer. Or when you simply don't want to respect the other person's face, you just want to get your message across and you want something done, you could say something like, don't forget to clean the blinds. You're giving a command. Okay? In other situations, you can use this type of face-threatening strategy when whatever you are saying is in the interest of the hearer. You cross somebody in the street and you say, your headlights are on. You definitely wouldn't say, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You just say what you want to inform them about. And of course, there are other single cases that are used in everyday life, like when you are welcoming somebody or you're offering something, you definitely don't use politeness strategies for that. Okay, you would just say, come in, or leave it, I'll do it later, or eat. Okay, and something about this that I've noticed, I don't know if it's for my cultural background or maybe individual, it can also be an individual aspect, but every culture has its own way of saying these things, and probably some cultures would add a please or a thank you more than other cultures. Okay, I don't know if you agree with that or not. Working with the American community, lots of times what they say that they've noticed is that Italians tend to say thank you and please less than what English-speaking cultures would do. I don't know if there's science behind that. There could be some studies about it, but at least this is what my American students notice. It's something that I've also experienced in my personal life, I must say, that people sometimes complain that I say please and thank you way too much, where it would seem awkward for them. But anyway, it was just a personal reflection on language. If you have any comments about it, of course, just write it in the comment box. It could open a discussion, a debate about some of these topics. Then what happens with some examples of positive politeness strategies? Remember that positive is when you're trying to either compliment somebody or say something good about them. Let's see. A good strategy, for instance, could be to include, I'm here at the middle half here, okay. Include both the speaker and the hearer in the activity. If we help each other, I guess, we'll both sink or swim in this course. Okay, you're involving the other person, so that person feels important, part of a group, and that will make him or her likely collaborate. Or for offers or promises. If you wash the dishes, I'll vacuum the floor. Or you can exaggerate the interest in the hearer and his interests, saying something like, that's a nice haircut you got. Where did you get it? And above all, with avoiding disagreement. Yes, it's rather long, not short, certainly. Okay, so you're agreeing with that person. Politeness, thus, generally speaking, positive politeness strategies basically mean that you are creating a sense of identity, of group identity with the other person. How can I obtain negative politeness? Using hedges or questions, for instance. Perhaps he might have taken it, maybe. Or could you please pass the rice? Or this is a strange example about being pessimistic. You couldn't find your way to lending me $1,000, could you? In Italian, maybe using the same technique, you could say, per caso non è che potresti prestarmi, che ne so, una 20 euro. No, Like there are some people that that asks questions and then they give a negative answer on their own, or a sort of negative question tag. No, that happens a lot too. Or some people minimize the imposition. Like it's not too much out of your way, just a couple of blocks. Probably something that we use a lot is apologizing when we're asking for something. I'm sorry, it's a lot to ask, but can you lend me $1,000? Or finally, when we don't want to take responsibility for what we're saying, personal responsibility, I mean. People tend to use personal pronouns. Like, we regret to inform you that your train has been cancelled. In that case, this person is not taking personal responsibility for what they're saying, but he is using it as part belonging to a group. So far, we specifically looked at on-record strategies. Okay, we were here. Okay, on record. Now, let's look at off-record strategies. Off-record strategies mean that you use indirect language. Imagine a speaker saying, "Wow, it's getting cold in here." Just like that, out of the blue. No questions, no requests, nothing. What does that trigger in the people who are around them? Two options. One is that somebody will stand up and turn the heaters on or up, or that somebody could close the window. In some cases, it could also happen that nobody stands up. And so, the fact that nobody reacts to what this person has said in an indirect way, because it's an indirect request to either turn on the heaters or close a window. I got lost in my own words. Sorry. What was I saying? Okay. So probably if nobody reacts to what the speaker has just said, maybe they could go to an on-record request. We all have these type of people. No, it's a pattern that some people use. Some people don't even realize that they are using it. So always be aware of what type of strategies you use in your life and what strategies people are using with you. If you have any funny examples, cases that happened in your life, just drop them in the comment box. So what did I just do now? Instead of saying, write me a comment, I'm talking on my own and I'm all by myself and nobody's replying, I wanted to respect your negative face, your independence. I didn't say write a comment. I said if you have an example. Okay? I'm doing that both because it's just my typical pattern, and also for the social relationship, the social teacher-student relationship at a certain level of education. Because if I were talking, if this class was for elementary school students, I would have said, write 10 examples or write 10 sentences, such blah, blah, blah. But in this case, the relationship, the social relationship, is instructor, teacher, university students. So I'm respecting your independence, but this does not mean that you should not drop a comment in the box. This last picture that you see over here gives you the usage of all the different types of politeness with the same example. Let me make it a little bigger for you because I don't know, honestly, yeah, this is something that I would be interested in. Are the slides big enough to be seen in the screen? Okay, let me make it a little bigger just in case you can't see it. So if I wanted to make a bald face-threatening act, remember, direct, you could say something like, close your mouth when you eat, you fat swine. Più baldo di così non si può. Or I can do a face-threatening act using positive politeness. So still on record, because I'm going directly to the point, but using the strategy of positive politeness. And I say, you have such beautiful teeth. I wish I didn't see them when you eat. Prima preparo tutto un bel complimento, che bei denti che hai, e poi zangde. L'abbatto, I stab her saying, I wish I didn't see them when you eat. Or negative politeness. Still bold, still direct, but using negative politeness. Remember that negative politeness means independence. I know you're very hungry, and that steak is a bit tough, but I would appreciate it if you could chew with your mouth closed. Okay? You are respecting the other person by saying that they're hungry, the steak is tough, but you are requesting them to chew with their mouth closed. Non è un video, è solo una diapositiva. And last one, I can do something off record, or in other words, indirect, and say, I wonder how far a person's lips can stretch, yet remained closed when eating. What do you understand from this? This person is indirectly saying, shut your mouth. So, what did we do today? We are looking at the concept of politeness in linguistics. Let's see, it's recording. Okay. We're looking at the concept of politeness in linguistics. We said that one important concept is face-threatening acts, FTAs, that face-threatening acts that, sorry, I was looking for something. face-threatening acts that can create problems with our face. Face is our public image, public self-image. However, there are some situations where face-threatening acts are unavoidable. In that case, you have to find a strategy to say something that can threaten the other person. How do you do that? You can do that with several strategies. One is negative face. You respect the other person's need to be independent. Or you can address the person's positive face. That is his or her need to be accepted and liked. Let me go to this other slide that is better, just to repeat this. To review this. Okay, you have to do it anyway, so what can you do? You can do it on record or off record. On record, you can say something boldly, pass me the pen, or you can do a redressive action using a strategy. Positive politeness, you make that person feel part of a group, or you give them compliments. Hey, what wonderful teeth you have. I wouldn't like to see them when you eat. Or negative politeness. I respect the other person's independence. I know the steak is tough, but please eat with your mouth closed. Chew with your mouth closed. Or I can do this off record. Off record by doing something indirectly. Okay? Not going straight to the point. Wanting the other person to understand what we want. I would say that definitely, of course, off-record communication is the one that can be the most misleading. But there are also people who are trained to this type of language. I don't know if your parents used to complain that they wanted something from you, but they didn't say it directly. You are trained to understanding these type of messages, and you are probably the person who reacts the most when something off record is said. Consider if you are always the first person who stands up when somebody says that they are cold. I'm not saying that it's necessarily bad or good. I just want you to think about all these situations in your life and how people use language with you and how you use language. Nothing good or wrong about it. And I gave you all these examples of strategies of how to use these strategies. Okay, so bold on-record strategy that is used when you desperately want somebody to do something, like watch out. Or positive politeness strategies when you want to make somebody feel part of a group. And you say something like, hey mate, can you lend me $1? Look at the word mate. Negative politeness strategies. When you apologize before asking for something. I'm sorry, it's a lot to ask, but can you lend me $1,000? Or, finally, off record, so indirect strategies. Like, wow, it's getting cold in here. Last thing for today, I want you to pause the video here and watch this 6-minute video about politeness. And this person is a communication coach, so he will give you some examples about how to use politeness within the working or studying context. Okay, so see you back in 6 minutes, and I will put the link in the description box on YouTube. Okay, so I hope the video gave you some good examples about how these strategies are used within the working or studying field. Last thing for today, we're going to analyze and read, analyze, and watch our song. Please keep sending me new songs, okay? Because I'm running out of them. I know some of these songs might be coming from Asia Africa, some are from your course Comparate, but I'm putting them together. Maybe what you can do is when you send me the song, write your course, the course you belong to, in the description in the subject, so that I can divide the songs you ask for by classes. Today's song is Noah Cyrus. This is July. Okay, I'll put the link here and then copy it in the description box. So for today, 2 videos, one on politeness and the second one for the song. Since I'm here, I'll just prepare the slides that you'll find on Moodle. Hope you all have the Moodle password. If you don't, send me an email, please. Because there's still somebody who doesn't have it. And they're also on my pagina personale. So just go there. Okay, sorry, just let me slide marzo for CP, CP2. Okay. I hope you're attending your mother tongue teachers classes. Okay. I don't know what system they are using, but try to attend as much as possible. Okay. There was somebody who asked me about Microsoft Teams. Well, it was told us to continue with the system we started with. Okay, so I think this system is okay with me. And you just go to YouTube and watch the videos. So, and we're always in contact. So I don't think Microsoft Teams would work for this. I feel that YouTube is better. And so we'll continue with that. Okay, sorry for digression. Let's go to the lyrics. I've been holding my breath. I've been counting to 10. Over something you said, I've been holding back tears, while you're throwing back beers. I'm alone in my bed. You know, I'm afraid of change. Guess that's why we stay the same. So tell me to leave. I'll pack my bags, get on the road, find someone that loves you better than I do, darling. I know, 'cause you remind me every day I'm not enough, but I still stay. Feel like's a lifetime, just trying to get by. While we're dying inside, I've done a lot of things wrong. Loving you being one, but I can't move on. You know, I'm afraid of change. Guess that's why we stay the same. So tell me to leave. I'll pack my bags, get on the road, find someone that loves you better than I do, darling. I know, 'cause you remind me every day I'm not enough, but I still stay. If you want me to leave, then tell me to leave, baby, and I'll go. You remind me every day. I'm not enough, but I still stay. Okay, so this is the end of the class for March 23rd. We will be back on Wednesday. If you have any questions, just send me an email or drop a comment. Thank you very much, and see you on Wednesday.